Hey guys, it's Johnny and welcome to episode 34 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm back here with two guests that were on a previous show and we're going to do the 6-month update on health, happiness, business, travel, all that good stuff. Welcome to the show, Dr. Alexis Shields and Dr. Shannon Weeks.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So the first episode that we had together was episode 3 back in November 2013. That was exactly 6 months ago.
And that was pretty much right when we moved here, a month after we moved here.
Yeah, so for those who haven't heard that episode, they're both doctors from Portland, Oregon, sold their practice, came out to Chiang Mai, start their digital nomad, location independent entrepreneur journey, as well as travel a bit. 6 months later now, what have you guys been up to?
Well, since first arriving, business-wise anyway, I had ideas for this video training course, and I have finished the course.
Nice, congratulations.
Took 6 months, and I should be launching within the next 3 or 4 days.
If you were still back in the U.S., at your practice, working your normal job, do you think you would have finished it?
I know for a fact I wouldn't have, because I had the information on my computer for 3 years with the intent to work on it. But you work all day, you get home, it's like the last thing I want to do is to delve into it, and it was way more work than I had originally thought, and there would have been no way I would have been.
Yeah, I would say almost everything to do with technology-wise, computer-wise, always ends up being more work than you originally anticipated.
Always. And I got a lot of it done during these really intensive work weeks that I met up with a group here in Chiang Mai. They call them Focus 55, where we would go from Friday to Sunday and do nothing but work. And it took me 2 of those and many endless hours to actually finally finish it.
I remember I did one of those with you guys. So for those who don't know, Focus 55 is basically someone organizes a weekend 55-hour power workathon, usually either at a co-working space or someone's house. And you basically just get together as a group, usually 8 to 10 people. You help each other with their ideas, keep each other accountable, and work hard. Alexis, you're in one of those as well. Actually, how many have you done now?
2.
2 of them, yeah.
And what were you working on?
I've been working on building my online consulting with patients, where I do lab consults and then also just regular health consultations. And since November, I guess I've been building that, and I also started writing for Mind Body Green. So I started writing some health articles and building my content on my website. So it's been moving forward.
So I really want to hear more about the business, but let's get into the fun stuff first. Let's talk about the travel.
Great.
We can start with what we did yesterday.
We went to the Four Seasons in Chiang Mai, which is on a beautiful grounds with rice paddy fields and an infinity pool, and they have an amazing kind of brunch buffet that we all went to and had a big group brunch.
I took a look at their website and I go to see how much it is to stay there a night. 18,900 baht starting, which is 600 US.
Yeah, this is the off-season.
600 in the off-season. I think it's, if you get your own kind of bungalow, it's between 800 and 1,500 a night.
That's so much. And the thing is, it's beautiful. I would say it's worth it. If somebody's been working the whole year, you're stressed out, and you have 1 week or 2 weeks with your family, you want to see the most beautiful part of Chiang Mai. You want to have rice fields inside the middle of the hotel, the personal water buffalo,
yes.
The best food, the nicest pool. Then it's worth it. But what's nice about our lifestyle is we can live 30 minutes away, and we can basically go there any weekend we want and not have to spend $1,000.
Yeah.
Get to use all their facilities, their steam room and their pools and their lounges and their great service. For I don't know how much we paid, but it wasn't that much.
Just $50 US.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, for even for me a year ago, exactly a year ago this day, if you asked me to go, I would have said, no way, that's half my rent for the month. I would have said, how much food, Thai meals I can get for that. Because the average Thai meal for me was $2 a meal. So that's 25 meals. That's a week's worth of food. So I would have said, no way, that's a rip off, I want to do it. But now that I'm making a normal US wage while living out here, to me that's such a good deal.
Yeah.
And it's something that we wouldn't be able to have back in the US.
You could do it in the US. It would cost you probably more like $100, $150 just for the brunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so here,
which I wouldn't have done.
Yeah, you wouldn't have done.
No, I wouldn't have. Even if I could afford it, I just wouldn't have done it for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think, like the $50 a meal that's kind of like the maximum I would pay right now. But it's, as you're saying, you get all the facilities. We had steam room, a sauna, we had jacuzzi, a cold plunge,
and you can stay in their facility the entire day. Stay at the pool the whole day.
And we ate for 2.5 hours.
We had a lot of food.
Right.
They had a live singer that was on Thailand's Got Talent.
Yeah, the music was fantastic.
Really nice. And me and Narissa stayed for a couples massage afterwards.
Oh, wow.
But not the Four Seasons, because it would have been over $100. We got one at Miracle Spa, which is down the street from
I know
here.
those guys, yeah.
Really nice place. And
very nice.
The inside of it, I mean, the facilities are so nice, service is so nice. We had a private room, just the two of us. And the quality was, I would say, on par with whatever we can get at Four Seasons.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I took a peek inside the actual rooms itself, and it's similar. It's not going to be, $100 better. It's just going to be a little bit better. So that's kind of another travel hack. And I actually wrote a blog post about it today. It's on my blog, johnnyfd.com. But aside from hanging out at the Four Seasons, where else have you guys been in the last 6 months?
Well, we spent a month in Vietnam. Did all the way from the north in Hanoi and worked our way down to Saigon. We met a couple of friends from Portland there.
Went
And
on some cave tours and did a boat trip on a junk boat in Halong Bay.
And the caves, I saw the photos from that. That was really nice.
Yeah, the world's biggest cave is in Vietnam, and so that cave in particular is there's only about 100 people that go each year, and it costs a ton of money. It's a what is it, like 7-day trek to even get to the cave. So we went on just one of the 1 full day hikes where you hike basically through the jungle and you're climbing and swimming, and then you are hiking down into the cave, swimming through lakes in the cave. The cave it could house like skyscrapers. They're so huge.
yeah, it was incredible. Seeing 200 million year old fossils that were right there. I mean, it only opened a couple of years ago, so it was still, there was no real infrastructure, so it felt like you were the first people walking through these things.
That's cool. That's the only reason why I'd want to go back to Vietnam. We actually bumped each other in Saigon randomly.
Yeah, we were in Saigon for almost 2 weeks. We met a bunch of people from Chiang Mai there, working and enjoying Saigon.
It just happened that everyone was there at that time, and that's why I went as well. And that's what's nice about this lifestyle. It was only $100 flight.
Right.
So I said, yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
So even though you guys are taking off in a few days, I'm not too worried about not seeing you guys for a while, because I really believe that this world that we've stumbled into, this digital nomad world, is so small.
It's very small. We were just in Nepal just 2 weeks ago, and we ran into 4 or 5 people that we had met either in Saigon or in Chiang Mai in Kathmandu, and we all went out to dinner, and it was amazing.
And we actually ran into someone while we were on trek in the middle of the Annapurna Range at a guest house, like just in the middle, in the mountains. It was incredible.
I mean, and so for those who don't know, the Mount Everest is in Nepal, right?
Yes.
And so, I mean, imagine just going on this trek, like, up to the mountains, and, you're there with, your donkeys or mules?
Well, we had porters, but there are donkeys that take a lot of, bigger treks. Yeah.
Okay. And, you're walking, and you don't have cell phone service?
Actually, there is cell phone service now up to Annapurna. It's amazing.
But, you're basically in the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you see someone you met at a coffee shop that you worked with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here in
it
Chiang
was
Mai.
incredible.
It's amazing.
And even back in the U.S., I mean, like that probably would not happen. I mean,
No, people here are just always on the go, and so whenever you leave a city, you just tell everyone you'll see them soon, because you'll run into them somewhere.
It's kind of determined. So we're leaving for Berlin on Thursday, and the idea to go to Berlin just came about because some friends of ours who were talking, it's like, hey, let's go to Berlin for the summer, and we were like, well, why not? That sounds like a great idea. It's a little bit hot here and nice and cool there, so we arrive in Berlin with half dozen people that were already
that you already know.
with.
So you already plugged in, you already have friends. And the coolest thing about these people, these other entrepreneurs we meet, is they're very, very savvy in finding cool places to work out of, great places to eat, nice apartments for a good price. But also, everyone is super helpful.
Super helpful. Yes. They're very free with information and who to contact. It's a great group.
So back in November, 6 months ago, when you moved out here from Portland, how many of these people did you know?
We met you. We met you at the kickboxing. That was it. And I had one other friend that I knew from before. The guy who runs Miracle Spa actually was a friend of a friend.
Okay.
And I had a friend from Portland who was one of the MMA trainers at Team Quest, and that was our network.
So how exactly did you get plugged into this whole entrepreneur network?
Well, I think through meeting you, actually, we started meeting everybody that has been part of this group, and then the weekend that we met everybody, we actually jumped onto one of the Focus 55 weekends and did an intensive work weekend with everybody, and that just kind of snowballed everything. And then everywhere we've gone, we've met up with people that are part of the Dynamite Circle and expanded our network.
But it's so crazy that like just being here, I mean that was basically the step, just being here.
Being here was
just
the
going,
step.
yeah.
And then you hung out at Punt Space for a while. I worked out of there. You hung out at coffee shops, and just once you meet one person here, and here's a caveat: you have to be cool.
You gotta have some minimal social skills. Yes.
And then people very easily. I mean, I would say there's some people that don't have good social skills, but they're great at whatever skill they have online. And it's okay that they're not super social, and they're still part of the group, they're still friends because they always have something to offer. I mean, people always and it's not one of those things where when you meet someone, you're like, okay, what can you do? But it is one of those things where people are constantly trying to help each other. They're like, I happen to know e-commerce, or I happen to know email marketing, or I happen to know web design. If you ever have any questions, let me know.
Yeah. It's the friendliest group of people, and I think that's one thing I didn't expect when I moved here was that, it's hard to make friends as you get older. If you're not going through school or going through some kind of an educational program, I think as you get older, it's harder. You kind of are set with the friends that you've made already, and moving here, everyone is so welcoming and friendly and outgoing and really accepting of new people. It's been really, it's nice.
Because it's a tribe.
Yeah,
it is a tribe.
It is.
Yeah, and it's a tribe that has villages literally everywhere in the world.
And you have that bond if you're going to a new city, and maybe you haven't met the group of people that are in that city, but as soon as we're part of this common bond, and so we're just kind of you're accepted and brought into their tribe right away. And
it's the abundance mentality as well, especially because there's so much business to do online. I mean, it's literally unlimited. That people will, if they tell you their best secrets, you should use Lucky Orange to track your visitors so you can figure out how to A/B split test and get a higher conversion rate. It might have cost that person thousands of dollars and years of twiddling around to figure that out.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't mind telling you that just straight off the bat, even though they just met you, because it doesn't hurt them.
Yeah. And
that's a mentality that I really like about people that I met out here versus people that, let's say they're at home, they're working, and they're unhappy with the rest of their life, because they're living somewhere, they're stressed out, and they feel like they need to hoard information.
Yeah.
So, besides Nepal, Berlin, and Vietnam, that's a big jump. I mean, it's really only 6 months.
We've done some trips down in Thailand itself. We went to the islands like many people. Her brother came here for 2 months and hung out, so we got to spend a good time with the family.
Yeah, we've really been trying to balance work life with, the reason why we came out here was to travel and experience a new part of the world, and so we've really made sure that we're taking a break and getting out there and traveling and doing what this lifestyle affords you to do.
So I remember you guys telling me that the way that you guys were going to earn money in the meantime while working on your businesses was to do things like Skype consultations, telemedicine.
Yeah.
Now, by doing that, basically part-time, how much of your savings had to dip into these last 6 months, while taking all these trips, while traveling, and really just living a good lifestyle, and while building a business? Have you cleaned out your savings, or was that able to kind of float you?
Yeah, it was just the opposite. So we took a month and we traveled through Vietnam for the month. We came back with more money than we had left than we had gone with, because I was still able to do these consultations. So, we stayed at a hotel, and I'd get up at maybe early, 6 to 10 in the morning and do some work. And because of the nature of the online part of it, you don't end. No, we've had the exact opposite experience. We've been able to actually build up our income while doing all these things.
Yeah, we're saving more being here, doing what we love, and building something that is affording this lifestyle for us than we would have when we were at home. And that it's exactly the opposite.
And you're building a real business that's going to bring in a lot more money when it's done. I mean, both of you guys are working on big projects that really help people.
Yeah. And the other thing and so much of it, the ideas of what I had when I came here have changed and morphed and grown because of the people I've met here. That I've had things I would have never figured out when people would say, "Oh, you should do this and this." I'm like, "Well, of course that makes so much sense," but I would have never found that had I not jumped up. So I have, I had literally years worth of projects that are in my to-do list. Like when I get finished with this big chunk, I have another one that I can add on that I wouldn't have even thought of until I came here. So what is available and what's possible is really starting to expand.
I know exactly what you mean, especially because we have so much free time. We have so much free time and so much freedom, and our cost of living is so low that we know even if we make a project that doesn't necessarily take off, it's okay.
It's okay. And the other thing is the cost of living here is so low, and it allows us to save enough money that we can. So we're going to go to Europe for 2 months, which is much more expensive, but it's still, because we've been able to save and make money and build up our income here. When we go there, it'll allow us to spend 2-3 months in Europe without breaking the bank at all.
But and even living in a more expensive city, it's less expensive when you get rid of all of your stuff and your baggage that's holding you back at home. Just getting rid of all of our stuff that we had living in Portland, Oregon, it's freed up so much money that you just don't really realize.
And you're also not spending money on stupid stuff anymore.
Like a car.
Yeah.
Car, the insurance that goes with it.
Yeah.
The gas.
Yeah.
I mean, how much are people spending on gas nowadays?
I have no idea. I know that we bought a motorcycle here and sold it 7 months later for about what we had bought it for. So it's basically the transportation's been free except for the $10 a week we spend in gas.
Do you even spend $10 a week in gas?
I don't even know.
No.
It's $3 every time I fill up my little tank, and who knows how long. I mean, it's a scooter; it goes forever.
Yeah, I spend 100 baht, which is $3, every time I fill up my motorbike, and I would say every week I fill up once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep.
So $3 a week for gas. Same thing. I bought my motorbike for around 10,000 baht, just $300 something dollars. And when I started, it was going to sell it for $300 something dollars.
Yeah.
You guys have a much nicer bike, and you guys.
But it's sold within 2 days of putting it up on Facebook.
Yeah.
So there's always some new person moves into town, and they were just like us 6 months ago, and so it goes round and round.
And it's almost like I almost feel like within this community of digital nomads, people just give each other stuff. You know, and it's kind of like this recyclable. The mic I had before this, I had a snowball. I basically just gave it to someone because they thought about starting a podcast. Nice. And I said, if you don't use it, give it back. If you use it, just keep it.
That's great.
Yeah, we gave away a bunch of this to the guy who bought our motorcycle. It's like, well, do you need a basket? Do you need little things you forget about, like bowls and knives and things like, we're not taking it with us, so we just...
Yeah, well, Alyssa and Kevin just left 3 sticks of grass-fed butter.
Nice.
In the fridge at Hunt's Space with a sticker on it just saying...
Oh, and they are leaving with our big suitcase that we came here with. So we're even downsizing even more, so we got rid of another suitcase.
That's a nice thing to get rid of stuff. This trip that I came here, I brought... Because I'm going to keep this apartment for a year. So I brought tons of consumables, mainly like almonds and MCT oil and... other like random things. I think I brought like 25 bars of dark chocolate.
I see there's a kilo of macadamia nuts in the corner there.
Yeah, that actually I bought it here. That was I have a macadamia nut hookup if anyone needs it. There's basically locally grown organic. I think it's about $20 a kilo, which is 2.5 pounds, 2.2 pounds, and. Basically everything I ever wanted, everything I need is out here now. I would say the only things that are still hard to buy in Thailand are electronics. Like blenders are much more expensive than they would be in the US.
And personal, one of the reasons we're getting rid of our large suitcases, because when we came here, we bought a particular brand of fluoride-free toothpaste that we like, and a particular deodorant, and she has her things that she likes that that you can't.
It's
have.
a little harder to find here, though.
So, but I mean, that takes such a small. That's just such a small thing, and someone's always coming that we have that will bring those little things. But that's really it. It's like personal toiletries and stuff that you might have.
And just to clarify, they do sell toothpaste and shampoo out here.
Yes, they do.
They do sell,
of course, but like you got the one brand that you like that doesn't have fluoride and junk in it. It's like, well, I'll use that one.
Yeah,
it's me being high maintenance.
No, it's us being wanting kind of like, natural stuff.
Like your MCT oil, it's hard. You could probably find it somewhere here.
No,
maybe not that version.
You can buy coconut oil here.
Plenty organic coconut oil, right?
So you can definitely get by with certain things, but there's certain things that they just don't sell here, like vitamin D.
Right.
There's so much sun. No one thinks you need vitamin D supplements.
Yeah.
And things like sunblock are expensive because Thai people just don't wear it.
Yeah. They just stay covered up.
Yeah. If you're a woman and you want to use Venus razors, you can't get it here. You don't have to use cheap plastic disposable ones. So things like that, definitely bring it with you. I have a video I just uploaded this morning. I don't know what it's called. Packing 2014.
Nice.
What I brought. And the reason why I upload these videos every time I come back, which is like once a year, is I would say for twofold. The first is when I was first getting ready to come back to Thailand my first time, I was so nervous about what to bring that when I found Tim Ferriss's original packing video, it really...
Oh, I've watched that.
Yeah, it really made me feel like, okay, you know what? I could see what's important, what's not, and it's fun. I enjoyed watching it. So that's why I've always made it. But also, my needs have changed. So if you go back to my old YouTube videos and you look at what I brought, it looked like I was going on a safari. And everything had to be quick dry, waterproof. But now that I'm living in Chiang Mai for a while, and I realize, this is actually like a pretty big city. I don't need that stuff. But there's other niceties that I bring now.
Yep.
So go ahead and watch that video. It'll be on the blog, Johnny FD, or just look on the YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes for that. So these 6 months, not only have you traveled and got to see all these cool places, you got to go trekking in Nepal and go caving in Vietnam and go down the islands. You've done so and grew your bank account and grew your businesses.
Yep.
Which is and once those are launched, you have so much more money coming in that you'll be able to step it up even another level.
Yeah.
And I think this is the real key takeaway is when I went back to the US and I asked people, hey, what have you been up to? They say nothing.
Yeah.
They're the same people. Many of them are the same people you left a year ago
or 5 years ago.
Oh yeah. Right.
And they literally have not done anything different. I remember being shocked and appalled when a friend asked if I wanted to go to, I don't remember the name of the nightclub now, but it was some nightclub that we used to go to, when we were in college, like 6-7 years ago, and that was like the cool thing to do on weekends. And when he asked me to go there, and I said, "Do people still go there?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's so fun. So and so DJ is going to be there," and I felt genuinely bad for him because I realized that so many years have passed and there've been so many new experiences, and for them they're so stressed out day to day working the same job that they're not happy at, having so many bills to pay and having all these responsibilities. I mean, most people don't even really have weekends to go out and do things. On weekends they have to do chores, they have responsibilities, they run errands. So when do people actually get to learn, grow, or travel, experience, or do anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no. Yeah. People really they can do it. We all did it, but it takes a much larger effort. I like to read, but the amount of reading that I did at home versus here doesn't compare because you get home after a day of work and you're tired or you just don't have the motivation, and so things that you might have wanted to do, you still do, or I did anyway, but it was on a much smaller, slower level. Like I really feel the analogy I use, I feel like we've been put in a slingshot and let go. It's 6 months later, it's like, oh my God, I met so many more people. My bank account has grown so much more than it would have in Portland, and
I think we've just grown in the last 8 months, just as people. Everybody that we're meeting and all the experiences that we've had, and we're doing this together, which is another whole element to
Yeah, and it's really growing your relationship as well, which is great. You know?
Yeah.
I really believe that, you know, our time is on this earth is limited. You know, we're all in our 30s or higher. And
Some of us are in the 30s.
and, you know, if I was...
But I want to point that out.
Yeah.
So I'm 46.
Okay.
And
But you don't look or act it at all.
And most people that I know, I have many, you know, friends that I've grown up with, the idea of leaving at their age, at some age, I'm not quite sure what it is. It's usually somewhere in your mid-30s, 35, 36, 37, where the idea of I'm too old to do that creeps in. And there's no validity to it, but you think, oh, no, I can't. That time for me has passed. I'll have to wait until I'm 65 and retired to do that. And it's just not the case, that there is no... You know, when you're 45, it'll be now. When you're 35, it'll be now. It's the same. It doesn't change. And so many people, they think that I have to do that when I'm, you know, I'm too old to be doing that. I have to be looking for a new career or whatever. And it's just not the case.
The perfect time is always yesterday.
It's always yesterday. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'm 32. I'm turning 33 this year. And I know 100% if I had stayed back in the U.S., I would be working at some corporate job I didn't really like, spending money on crap I didn't need. I would be, you know, I would be stressed out. I'd probably be pretty content. I mean, I'd probably have 100% sure I would have a new Xbox.
You would have all of the distractions that would keep you away from the things that you really should have been doing.
That's 100% true. I would have a big car payment. I would either have the new Mustang or the new Mercedes, you know, whatever I was kind of in the mood for. But not really. I'll probably own a house. But then here's the thing: is I wouldn't actually own anything because all those would be on payments.
Be tied to debt.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I would have a mortgage on a house that's too big that I you know couldn't really afford, and a car that was too nice that, you know, wasn't really practical. But because everyone else had it, and that's what I thought would make me happy. But you know, really, that's the only thing that would make me happy at the time. I would buy it no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been able to, it's part of that global arbitrage thing, so we've been able to move over here, pretty much keep our income the same, but because it's the cost of living is so low, we've been able to pay down large amounts of house debt and just other things that you have just from living. We really, it's like I said, it feels like a slingshot. We've gone the other way. 6 months later, we would have been maybe 25% of where we are now as far as being able to accomplish those things.
You know, so the amount of free time I had in any given week back in the U.S. was, I would say, 5 hours. Mm-hmm. All right, and I have 5 hours of free time every day here.
Yeah.
Yes. Now you can feel it. Just to be clear, you do work. You are very, you know, we see you at the workspace quite a lot. I mean, but because it's stuff that you really enjoy and enjoy creating, you're talking about just the other day where you started some website, you got up at 5 a.m. because you were so excited to finish it. You know,
choose
generally.
to.
Yeah, so I mean, there's work being done,
Yeah.
and it's actually a lot more concentrated. And even though you have so many more free hours, you're still probably working. People work here, but it's that they're creating things, and so it doesn't necessarily
We're building
feel like
things
work.
that we enjoy building, and that are really helping other people as well. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, you're solving. Yeah, if you can solve problems, you will never be out of. Yeah, your money problems will be over.
Well, that's basically the entire. I mean, I would say the entire industry that we're in is we kind of keep our eyes open, and anytime someone, 10 people ask the same question, you're like, oh, let's build a product around it.
Right.
So just 2 days ago, I built a website, dropshipq.com, as in dropshipquestions.com. And it's because everyone kept asking the same questions about dropshipping. And I always tell them, like, you know what, just, go
buy the course.
Go on, buy Advan's course. And because that's how I learned how to do it, and I know it works. However, I realized, not everyone wants to deep dive into it. People are kind of just curious about certain questions, and they have, and they kind of want to know a little bit more about what is dropshipping and what is kind of involved in it before they they invest $500 for a course. So I decided, let me just make a website that's basically just an FAQ that people can submit questions, and I'll make a video response for it. And I was so excited to build it that I stayed up until 9 o'clock one night,
and then bam, in 24 hours you have a fully functioning website.
Exactly.
With content.
Yeah. And already people are loving it. You know, I'm really getting nice comments on it. People submitting questions, and it's fun to do, and it's a whole new it's like a whole new thing that I created in 24 hours.
Yeah.
But only because I didn't have to do anything else at that time. Like there's things I probably should have been working on.
Sure, but this wasn't income motivated. It wasn't like, oh, I need to up my my paperclip so I can make more money. It's just like, oh, here's a problem that people are, and money might come out of it, but it wasn't the driving force behind that.
And it's not even just that. It's not like I have a boss that says you have to have these TPS reports in by 5 o'clock today. It's like nobody's gonna tell me I have to upload the 2 new products I wanted to upload to my commerce store by this week. Those are things I should do, and I know I'm gonna I have to do it because it'll make me more money. But I don't have to do it at any given time. I can basically do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And that's what's nice about not having a boss, not having a job.
Yeah.
Yes. Still working, just not a job.
Yeah. And people, I mean, you're right. I don't want people thinking that all of us are just hanging out here on the beach,
No.
sipping pina coladas all day.
We're working hard. We just love what we do.
There's a quote that said something like, "Do what you love, and you never work a day in your life."
That's true.
And I firmly believe that's true. And I have StarCraft 2 on my desktop right there, but I haven't opened it in 4 months.
Oh wow!
I've never even beat the game, and it's because the reason why I still have it there because I enjoy playing it, but I enjoy just accomplishing things more.
Yeah.
And to me, video games were a way to accomplish something, like to beat a level, to get better at something. And now, me making a website feels exactly the same as building or leveling up in a video game.
Right. Yes.
You're
leveling up every day now.
Yeah. So, for me, the last 6 months, let's say we'll touch on the major points of milestones in life. Have I done more and traveled more? Yes, definitely, and both of you guys have as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we more wealthy?
Yep.
You guys have more money in your bank account than you started?
Yep.
Yeah.
I do as well, which is insane if you think about the amount of things we did and the amount of things we spent money on.
Yes.
Business or I guess career-wise, are you guys more ahead than you were 6 months ago?
Yes.
Definitely.
And me as well. I have, in these last 6 months, I've built. I don't even know how many more websites, but like I've all these random things. I've made a magazine. I have this Dropship FAQ now. I built another e-commerce store. So my career, I guess you guys can't see my air quotes, but my career or my business has improved, and you guys have as well.
Yeah, it's just shifted. I mean, when we left Portland, we had already worked on our businesses, and we had we were successful doctors there, and so for a lot of people, I think that position, and I'm sure people listening to this who have good careers.
Mm-hmm.
They're making money, it's solid, and they even enjoy what they do, which was our case. There was still something there's like a wanderlust in there that wasn't answered, and so you can be at the broke part, or you can be doing quite well, and you feel like you're giving it up, but you're not really giving it up. You're just exchanging it for something
with more
better.
freedom. Yeah.
All right. So the next part would be relationships. In these last 6 months,
We have the same one.
yeah, same relationship. But do you feel like it's made you guys closer?
Yeah, I think we live in a small apartment because that's all we really need, and we're spending most of our days together. We're working on separate projects, but we're together a lot, and more so than we ever were in Portland because we worked in separate offices and we had a bigger house, and this has just made our communication, I think, so much better because we've been forced to learn how to communicate.
I like it. And my relationship has gone. Well, I was single 6 months ago when I met you.
That's right.
And now I'm genuinely happy.
Yeah.
I met a really great girl.
And the truth is had you met her while you were in the States, in the state that you were in the mental space that you were in, it probably wouldn't have happened. You would have been attracted, she might have been attracted, but your mental space you weren't healthy enough to attract that in, I think.
Yeah.
That's true. And I don't even know if she'd be attracted to me. because back then I was a douchebag. I was, and my goals in life were very different then. My goals then were to buy the latest gadget or the latest car. To go out drinking and party, to do things like that. And I was really out of shape. I was really overweight. I was unhealthy. I was always tired. I never had any energy. So the Johnny today versus the Johnny before I came is much more attractive today.
Yeah.
And I know why. She's like, to me, she's never met the old Johnny, so she doesn't know what that guy is.
She's some pictures and some videos.
Yeah, and she's like, in her mind, she's convinced that she would like me anyways, and I'm like, no, baby, trust me. The guy I am now is much better. Okay, what about friendships? Have you guys made a lot more friends?
So many more. I mean, I met more people within 6 months here than I swear in the last 4 years.
So much more social here, which. We love Portland. We love our Portland friends, and I miss them, and I can't wait to see them again whenever that time comes. But we're so much more social here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, every night, if you want to have a dinner,
someone's getting together.
Or even the working. We go to the coffee shops to work, and it's that and there's always somebody new coming in, and everyone's so friendly, and I've met so many people, and people that I promise you 20 years from now, I'll still know them.
I believe so as well. Just even us. 6 months ago, we were acquaintances. We just met at the Muay Thai gym, and we were like, oh, hey, you want to get some food?
That's right.
And then now, 6 months later, I consider you guys good friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like I've known you forever.
Yeah, and it's not just with us. I have so many other good friendships and relationships now that I never would have met before. And it's not that I instantly become best friends with everyone I meet, because I meet hundreds of people. But out of those hundreds, I would say most of them have a lot of the same kind of goals or same hobbies as I do, like traveling, entrepreneurship, things like that. So at least I respect them, even if we don't have anything else in common. But then there's the couple people that I just instantly click with, and I'm like, I want them to be my BFF.
Yeah. It also opens up a whole new range of travel, because now people from every corner of the earth, and you're like, I would never have thought to go to that place, but you're there. I'll be glad. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
I never would have went to Saigon if it wasn't for my friends being there.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. And there's a very good chance I'm going to be in Berlin this summer.
Berlin is happening this summer. Berlin's happening. Croatia's probably going to be happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Budapest,
we just had a friend who flew there on Monday, and it's like, well, why not? And you start looking around, and the world becomes much smaller.
So friendships improved, and health.
Well, I've always been pretty healthy, and I exercised in Portland, but I have to say I'm way more consistent about it, the exercise part here, just because there's never a time where the gym's very close, and it's not like I don't have free time. So we've been able, and I started a new thing when I was here. It was just in Muay Thai, but I discovered CrossFit since I've been here, and really enjoyed that. And so I would say that I feel physically better than I have in a long time.
Yeah, and I just have so much more time to focus on myself. I get regular massage, and I have a regular exercise routine, and I've started doing meditations and affirmations and things that I always was well-intentioned to do, and I did look after my health when I was in Portland, but I just didn't have as much time to dedicate towards it, and so stress levels are down, which improves everything about your health. So yeah, much improved.
Vitamin D levels?
Vitamin D levels way better.
I'm constantly tan, which is nice.
So 6 months ago, I got my blood test done. If you guys want to listen to that episode, it was the one with Dr. Alexis Shields. What episode was that?
Is that 9?
I'll look it up here. So I've had these two on the show a few times actually. The first time was having both of them on. That was episode 3, and that was basically talking about their move coming out here to Thailand. And then episode 18 was the blood test results with Dr. Alexis Shields. So in that, she had me go and get all my labs done, and took a look at my cholesterol levels, and basically all my levels. And 6 months later, we had it done again. So in the last 6 months, I actually haven't exercised as much as I should have. And the reason for that is in these last 6 months, just like Alexis and Shannon, I've been traveling a lot. I went to Cambodia for almost a month. I went to Vietnam for almost a month. I was down in the islands for 2 or 3 weeks.
But you've also been doing active things like rock climbing and hiking, and you just went on a 3-day hike.
Yep.
I mean, you're living right, you're moving, and that's what exercise is,
I can just say, we did just a short trek in Nepal, 4 days up in the mountains, and I was so thankful for having been able to go to CrossFit and Muay Thai here, because people who fly from their corporate jobs and do that, after day one, I bet you some of them are literally not moving the next day. It was physically challenged, but if there are people, friends of ours who, it's almost depressing to think, wow, they won't ever see this view just simply because their health wouldn't take them up the mountain.
That's absolutely true. So last week, right when I first got back to Chiang Mai, I wanted to get rid of my jet lag, so I had this brilliant idea that I would go on a 2-day hike and spend the night in the jungle, which worked. Completely got rid of my jet lag, but it could have backfired. Because imagine being jet lagged and walking uphill for 6 hours. But what was nice about that was, even though these past 3 weeks I was back in the US, and I went to 2 weddings, I had a bunch of family dinners, and kind of just hung out. I only worked out, I went to a CrossFit class once, and I don't know if I did any other real workouts. I think I did kind of, one day I would do some push-ups here and there, or one day I would go, I'd go for a walk or something. But I didn't actually go to any real classes. I wasn't in my workout routine, but I still tried to eat, stay on the diet and still, move as much as I could. But when I got back and did that hike, I was able to do it without a problem. Yeah. Right? And that's what, that's what I'm going to
imagine if 6 months ago, if you had gone on that hike, that would not have been a pleasant hike for you.
Yeah, that would have been difficult. Because I was also 25 pounds heavier. I don't know about 6 months ago, but definitely a year ago, I was 25 pounds heavier. And it never really occurred to me how much weight that is to carry around. Yeah. It's exactly the same as carrying around 25 steaks.
Yeah. Strap a 25-pound weight on your back and walk around for a day and see how you feel by the end of the day.
Yeah, and in my mind, I always kind of ignore that, thinking like, no, that it's not really like that. It's it's spread out on your body. And it was just excuses. Life is easier weighing less and being in shape. So I just got my health test back. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but kind of just a quick update.
So you did, we had Johnny do a specialized cholesterol test called a VAP test, and basically it's just a more in-depth look at your cholesterol. It's something you can easily get in the US, and it's affordable. So we wanted to compare his cholesterol 6 months ago to now, and his LDL levels have improved. We also did a vitamin D test to see, says he's getting regular sunshine, what are his vitamin D levels? And in the US, it's very rare. I would say 1 in maybe 15 to 20 people actually comes in and has adequate or low adequate levels of vitamin D, and Johnny's levels are at a good level. He could even boost it a little bit higher, but they were good. And I think we also did a test to see how well he's regulating blood sugar, and with the diet that you follow, your blood sugar handling looks excellent.
I appreciate that. That's really cool. A big takeaway for that is, even though I get a lot of sun out here in Chiang Mai, and I actually force myself to walk without a shirt to and back from lunch every day. So I try to get at least 10 to 20 minutes of just, direct sunlight every single day, no matter what. And even then, even with, and the whole weekend I spent out laying by the pool.
And you live in a sunny climate, so it's really easy for you to do.
Yeah. And even then, I still don't have great vitamin D levels.
Yeah, it's kind of that like low optimal range that we want to see, and so you can boost it even more, which is a huge lesson, because if you have a desk job, if you're inside all day, if you live in a place that's cloudy, your vitamin D levels are not optimal. And vitamin D has hormone-like effects that affects everything, every process, every hormone, everything in your body, including your brain, and you're really missing out if you're not testing your vitamin D every year.
So every single person listening to this, I want you guys to go out and get your vitamin D tested. Is there an easy way for them to do that?
They can contact me, and it's a test that I can order for anyone in the U.S. You can also request it from your primary care doctor. Insurance is covering vitamin D now, so either contact me or your primary care doctor, but definitely have it done.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to get these blood tests done is because even though I know this new way of eating, if anyone's kind of unfamiliar with the diet I follow, it's kind of a combination of the Bulletproof, Primal, Paleo diet, which is
low sugar, low dairy. Or
yeah,
no dairy.
So I try not to eat any sugar at all. But even though it's once in a while now, I'm like, yes. At Four Seasons, I had a little bit of dessert, some homemade macadamia nut ice cream. That was nice. But yeah, almost no sugar. Mainly, I just eat vegetables, meat, and lots of butter, lots of grass-fed butter, lots of coconut oil, lots of avocado, which is all saturated fat. Yep. And it's still, because for 32 years I've been told saturated fat is bad for you, even though I've lost so much weight and I feel so much healthier and so much happier, being on this diet, part of me is still scared to death.
Well, I think you said it. You said for 32 years I've been thinking saturated fat is bad for me, and that's because that nutrition advice is that old. I mean, it's old nutrition advice. It's not, it's something that it's just not true, and it doesn't hold true anymore. The studies don't say that anymore. So yeah.
And the thing, but doctors don't know that.
Most still don't know that.
And
moves very slow. The medical community moves very, very slow. Even new recommendations. So, for example, there's a new recommendation 50 years later, finally, that says you shouldn't take aspirin as a preventative because the risk of bleeding is too great, right? So FDA just came out with that. And I see video consults. I still see 70 to 100 patients a week, and I cannot tell you how many people are still on that. My doctor still tells me to take a baby aspirin. It's like, well, all that means is that they literally haven't read any of the news reports that have come out, and they're just slow to move.
So, do go to your ER if you're bleeding out, if your bone's broken.
Please do.
Stop taking aspirin if you haven't had a heart attack.
Yeah, stop avoiding healthy saturated fats, and I honestly, for every single person listening to this, the best thing that's ever happened to my entire life. I mean, it's improved my wealth, my happiness, my well-being, my relationships, everything, is changing my diet, getting in shape, being healthy. So if you guys want more information, I'll have links to everything, including a 1-hour video of me just talking about what my diet is. I was actually surprised when people started commenting saying, "Hey, I watched the video." Yes, all of it. But they're just I'm basically the experiment, right? So I've spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and I'm lucky to have connections with and friends who can help me with this. So I want to share this with you guys.
You're the experiment. I'm the end result because I've been eating that way for 18 years now, 17 years now. And so if something was wrong with it, by now it would have shown up somewhere in me.
I love it.
And it's just not.
6 months from today, I'm going to get another test. Hopefully, my cholesterol is going to be even better, because as long as it's going on a positive trend, or a good trend, mm-hmm. That means, continuing all that butter, continuing whatever I'm doing now. So take a look at the show notes, episode 34, Chop Like a Boss podcast. If you guys want to get your blood tests, I highly recommend going through Alexis. She can get you a hookup for was it Labcorp?
Yeah, through Labcorp, which is a nationwide lab, and I can get labs for a fraction, like seriously a fraction of the cost that you would pay through your insurance or your primary care doctor. So
basically the deal is, if you go through Alexis, you can get the tests and a 1-hour consult where a doctor who actually studies nutrition, actually lives this diet, and actually knows what she's talking about, sit down and talk to you for an hour with the personalized results for probably the same amount of money or less than if you had just went to your normal doctor with insurance and got it on your own.
Definitely less, probably even half of the cost, literally.
Okay, so if they want to get in touch with you, the website is
dralexisshields.com.
Okay, and Shannon, your site is?
Well, my website is drshannonweeks.com, but I haven't put anything up on it because I've been working on this other project for quite a while. One day there'll be something up there. This podcast will be on there.
Awesome. I love it. So guys, thank you so much for listening. And Alexis and Shannon, have fun in Berlin.
Thanks. We'll hope to see you
Come
there.
visit us.
All right. I'll talk to you guys all later.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.